Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. And what day is it today? Today is the 25th of April 2018. Just a quick one. I just wanted to give you an update about Alfie Evans. I think the parents went through another court battle after the child obviously survived being off the ventilation. And obviously the court decided, no, he can't stay, he can't be moved, but he can go home. I mean, if I was that parent, I would be taking that, I'm trying to find the Sky News thing, so I'm playing to you. The minute they give me that child, I would take that child straight to that Italian helicopter. But the problem is, I'm sure the Italian helicopter, unless the British government say that it can be done. But then who is it? It's your child, you can do whatever you want with your child. If they say no, well, what are they going to do? They're not going to shoot the helicopter down, are they? But what I want you to listen to is how the journalist that phrases these words, this is an important thing. And this shows you how, this lying in plain sight, it shows you how journalists and media, they do have a bias. Now, this is Sky News, obviously it's not a public broadcaster like the BBC. But still, they do claim to be objective, isn't it? But and I'm going to give you the two key words. So this is sort of like giving you advance, but I don't think there's. I don't know. Actually, let's see if you can hear what I heard. Whether I'm hearing things or whether you agree with me or not. That the story was slanted in a certain way. Yeah, this is Sky News from yesterday.
A day after his life support was withdrawn. The 23-month-old will not be allowed to travel to Italy, though, despite the offer of a hospital place and military transport there. Alfie's parents tonight said they would continue the fight, as Sky's Nick Martin reports from Liverpool.
Alfie's father, Tom, emerged from Alderhay Children's Hospital securing a small victory for his son, the chance to take him home to die.
I'm about to lodge my appeal to the Court of Appeal. Just received an email from my barrister, and the Court of Appeal have reached out to us and said they're going to set back 3 judges to hear the case now. I don't know if you're all aware, you probably are, but Justice Hayden's keen to get his home in the hospital.
When doctors took life support away from Alfie Evans, he started to breathe by himself. His parents, Tom and Kate, saw this as a sign that they'd been right to challenge medical experts. But doctors and nurses insisted nothing had changed. It was during a last-minute court hearing that a judge rejected the parents' request to have their son moved to a children's hospital in Italy. In a statement, Alderhay Children's NHS Trust said, "The High Court ruled that it is in Alfie's best interests to continue with the end-of-life care plan developed by the clinical team who cared for him throughout. Our top priority, therefore, remains in ensuring Alfie receives the care he deserves, to ensure his comfort, dignity and privacy are maintained throughout. This includes working closely with Kate and Tom as they spend this precious time together with him."
Say hello to everyone else. Say hello to everyone else.
Alfie was diagnosed with a degenerative brain disease in December 2016. Doctors at Alderhay said continuing life support treatment wasn't in his interests, but his parents disagreed. In the end, a High Court judge ruled in favour of the hospital. In Liverpool, Alfie's story has prompted protests outside the Children's Hospital, with some people attempting to gain entry to prevent doctors from switching off the life support. At the same time, the Children's Hospital in Italy tweeted, "The Bambino Gesù team is ready. Italian ambassador has been informed. Military plane has been provided." This has always been an issue of the parents' right to dictate the future of their own child, set against the doctor's view of what is in the interests of that child. Up until now, neither side has been willing to back down. The family's barrister telling a High Court judge that the parents want to take their son away from this hospital for reasons of common sense and common humanity.
Right, so there you go. There's the bit that I wanted you to hear. The use of how he denigrates the parents, and establishes trust for the state, the government, the court, the hospital. There are a few other things I did notice on the way, but what he said the parents wanted to dictate the future of their child, their own child. The use of the word dictate obviously has a negative connotation. Usually you have the use of the word with dictators, as in, Saddam Hussein, Adolf Hitler, so it has a negative connotation to that word. Obviously you do have, I'm going to dictate these words to you. That is not as negative, but the most common use of the word dictate is through dictatorship. So that suggests that what they are asking for is somehow wrong. It has a negative connotation, and when it comes to talking about the hospital, he accentuates in their best interests, in the child's best interests. So what if you weren't knowing anything about this, or you didn't have any view, you would think, the parents are wrong, because and this doesn't need thinking about. It's coding through wording. Dictate, okay, they're bad. In their best interest, the hospital must know everything. But we know that they do make mistakes all the time. Hospitals are getting sued. We know that they thought the child would die when the life support was taken off, but it's still breathing. So maybe they've got it wrong. And also, they've never actually diagnosed exactly what he's got, so how can they know anyway? If someone else is offering a chance for this child to live, no, it's better. It's in the best interest of the child to die in the way that we want it to die. What are they really covering up here? I don't understand. It makes no logical sense why they wouldn't just, they don't have to pay for it. Why don't they just let the child go somewhere else? It's not their child. Are you telling me that the parents don't have the best interest for their own child? Whose child is it? Is it the government's child? Is it the court's child? Or is it the parent's child? I always thought it was the parent's child. But this keeps happening, and it needs to be stopped. This needs to be stopped now. When you go if you're a parent, when you go into a hospital, you should have a piece of paper signed by a solicitor saying that they have no rights over your children whatsoever, and you can take them out whenever you like. Why should they be able to do that against you and you can't do it against them? That's so wrong. But of course you won't be able to do that, because then they say, well, no, sorry, then you can't come into our hospital. Well, wait a minute, I have to sign things all the time when I come into the hospital. Anyway, this is the update this morning. I haven't actually heard it yet. Let's see if it has any new information.
Spend his final hours or days at home. The possibility was left open last night by a judge 2 days after his life support was withdrawn. Alfie, who is 23 months old, won't be allowed to travel to Italy, despite the offer of a hospital place and military transport to get him there. His parents say they are going to appeal that decision. We can speak to our reporter Fraser Maud, who is outside Alderhay Hospital, where Alfie is. It's in Liverpool. Fraser, what's going to be happening today?
Well, today, yet more legal process due to take place this afternoon. Another appeal to the High Court, to the Court of Appeal, to see if Alfie will be allowed to leave for Italy. As you mentioned, he's been given provisional permission to leave the hospital here. The judge said that it could be potentially viable, that he could be moved from his current room into either a ward or to a hospice or back to the family home. But the hospital here say that that would take a sea change in the attitude of Alfie's parents, and they fear that if he was given permission to go home, that they would then try to take him to Italy. That has been banned by the courts, and that's going to be the issue that's at discussion in the High Court again this afternoon. Basically, this boils down to the parents' rights over the legal rights and the legal obligations of the hospital here to do what they see is the best for Alfie. What they said is the best for Alfie was to remove his life support.
What they said. Do you hear that? He's just enforcing that they know better than their own parents. Oh my goodness, you can't take your own child home because you may do something that's in the best interest of your child living and take it to Italy. Oh, fuck off, yeah? I just hope that this child either lives and it proves this hospital and the government wrong, or they just take this child and they get it to Italy and they say fuck off to the courts, that this is my child and I'm not letting anyone else dictate what you can say can be done with my child. What are they going to do? Shoot it down? Or are they afraid that, like that other case where that child went to America and he survived? Hey, it's so wrong. But it needs to stop now. Anyway, take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.